Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Florentin, and this will be a quick book review on one-page composer bios by Althouse. Looks like this. I use this book in my music classroom for about 10 years now. I usually teach it for students in 4th grade, simply because in 4th grade we have 2 or 3 large units on the life of different composers. And I've used this book time and again, very successfully. The kids really enjoy it. And I'll show you a few features of the book and one way in which I always use it every year, 2 or 3 times each year. Again, the title is One Page Composer Bios. The subtitle is 50 Reproducible Biographies of Famous Composers. And the author is Althouse. Here it goes, the title, subtitle, author. Here's the front cover. Here's the back cover. Now, some of the features, I paid $20 for this. It was well worth it because I used it so many times. And the book has 2 major sections. One section towards the end, and you might want to start there with your students. You can also use this for personal study, but it's really good for classroom teaching in a general music setting where you teach music history and music theory. So I would suggest that you go to the back sections first, where the author provides page-long articles on the different music periods, such as the medieval era, the Renaissance era, the Baroque era, the Classical era, the Romantic era, and 20th century. There's also an About the Author section there if you want to look at that. So you can use those sections as an overview of each era, but then my favorite feature of the book is that it has page-long articles by composer. There are 50 different composers featured in this book. All the big names and some lesser known composers as well. And just from the back cover here, I'll read a few of the words. It says each biography page includes, and I'll show you inside each book. For example, the page on Handel, it looks like this. So then each biography page includes a drawing of the composer. So you see a pencil drawing of the composer there. The composer's dates of birth and death, right at the top of the article there. There's the phonetic pronunciation guide for non-English names, which is pretty neat. You can see that under the name there. There's the musical era in which the composer lived. That's going to be in the article itself. A list of the composer's famous works. It's usually towards the end of the article right here. And it says a quote by or about the composer, and that's at the very end of each page. What I did with this every year throughout the years, the last 10 years or so, I've been teaching at this school for about 20 years now, and in the last 10 years I did 2 or 3 group projects on different composers in 4th grade usually, and I will separate the students in groups of maybe 5 or 6, and I would print out a page out of here for each group, assign a different composer for each group, for example Brahms, okay, and provide each student with a copy of the article. Then they would read it individually and as a group, start discussing different things about it, about the composer. And then I would provide a chart like this. Now you don't have to do this, but this is what I do. And there are 4 categories in the chart. One is life, music, compositions, other, because they have to put their names here, their class, come from different classes, their homeroom really, and the name of the composer. In the life section, they have to find items in the article that deal with the biography of the composer. Important events in the composer's life that are not necessarily musical in nature, like date of birth, date of death, places they lived, places they moved to, jobs they had, family life, things like that. In the music section, obviously, everything in the article that's musical except for the famous works sections, which is right here, and I'm saving that for later. I'll show you in a second. So in this second section, they usually, in the music section, they would identify things in the article that have to do with anything music, like instruments they played, who did they study with, what music school did they teach at, what music jobs did they hold, things of that nature. In the third section, it says compositions on my chart. Then I would have the students simply copy the song titles in here, and that'll be enough for me in that section of the chart. And then for other, I usually ask the students to identify things in the article that don't go anywhere else on the chart. And sometimes they start by copying the quote at the end. My light just went out here. The quote at the end, and also other things in the article that wouldn't go in any other category, such as physical appearance, trivial stuff, things that are not very, very important, but are kind of cool to know. So that's one of the things that I do with the book. But aside from what I do with the book, this is really good for just reading, reading to your class, reading to yourself maybe, reading to your children. This is also good for self-guided study. Maybe your kids are homeschooled, or maybe you want to give your children some extra work on a Saturday, some fun work to read. And I like this a lot because it's appropriate for different ages. I used it in 4th grade, but this can work just as well with a high school student or even a grown-up, because it doesn't go too deep, providing information, but it's not shallow either. So it's a great page-long article that provides very general information about the composer. Good presentation. A good feature about the book also is that everything is free to reproduce, meaning you can make copies without having to ask for permission. So sometimes people make copies of books and you're not really supposed to. For this book, it is okay with the author to make copies, and it's made so that you can just make copies and pass them out, and kids can write in them. So that's a good feature of the book. Well worth the $20 I spent, I think, for me anyways, because I used it so many times. We're completing these projects this week with kids in 4th grade, and then they get to share with the class what they found about those composers. So anyways, just a quick, brief video, hopefully, about the book, 1-page composer bios, 50 reproducible biographies of famous composers, by J. Althouse. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you're welcome to subscribe if you want to. You're more than welcome to. And hope to see you next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye now. Thanks for watching.